We all know new games are coming out on Steam every single day, especially free-to-play games. There are so many of them, but unfortunately most of these smaller scale indie titles have a very hard time discovering them. So in this video I'm going to jump in and explore a bunch of these brand new first-person shooter games that just came out on Steam. So let's jump in and find out if there's any hidden gems that worth playing. Alright, I'm starting with this little first-person shooter that just came out on Steam, and it is called Frontline Inferno. It's a very simple, fast-paced World War II first-person shooter with classic guns, polygon-like characters, and very little customization. It's not a popular game by any means. Right now, only have about 25 people playing at the moment. Alright, when I jump into the game for the first time, I couldn't really find any servers. Apparently, there is no any official servers for the game right now. I mean, something we can expect for a very simple little first-person shooter like this. It does have player hosted servers, which means you can make your own custom lobby, and if you got a bunch of friends to play with you, you can simply invite them, or if you decide to play on solo like myself, you can host a game and expect anyone else to join and play with you, which is exactly what I did. There's only like 3 maps in the game, so you can select whatever you like, and you can set the timer or the player count. And I honestly wasn't really expect anyone else to join, but after like few minutes, bunch of people just jump in and we start playing right away, which is pretty fun actually. The game doesn't have a lot of mechanics. You just pick up a weapon and start shooting, and also you can select different factions like US, Russia or German. There are very few characters with very limited customization to do. I mean, I wasn't really expecting much, but I was kind of disappointed like when it comes to some of the gameplay mechanics. Like there is no any crouch option in the game, like there is no like throwables like grenades, smoke grenades or anything like that, and there is only a very limited selection when it comes to weapons. There's only like 5 weapons in the game. You can easily select your loadout and jump in. There is no any restriction or anything like that. I mean, it's a simple enough shooter to anyone else to pick up and play, but I gotta say I had a surprisingly fun time playing this. Especially the shooting mechanics feel really good, especially for a typical indie style first person shooter. The game does have like simple mechanics like bunny hopping. You can just jump around in the map. It's just bunch of dudes running around in this World War II map and slaying down each other. It's just a fun little first person shooter, but right now the game only have player hosted servers, which comes with some negativity. Let's say if you're like playing the game on a field server with bunch of people and you're having a really fun time, but somehow if the host decide to leave the game, you simply gonna get kicked out of the lobby and he's going to ruin the fun for everyone else, which is kind of a downside, but it is something we can expect for a simple shooter like this. But hopefully more stuff will be added to the game, like more weapons, more customization, some sort of a progression system, loadouts, a basic core mechanics like crouching, throwables, grenades, smoke grenades and stuff. But at the moment I can actually recommend this game for anyone who like a simple first person shooter. Alright, next game that I found out is this single player zombie shooter called Sea Arena. Apparently it's like a round-based zombie survival shooter. Right now only have like 11 reviews on Steam and only have about 4 people playing right now. When you jump into the game for the first time, the game presents you with extremely loud in-game music, but other than that I don't really see a lot of options here. We got quick play and an option called begin, more like a story mode, like a single player survival mode I think, but the game basically prompts you to complete the quick play option before you jumping into anything else. And after a few minutes the game again presents you with a super loud cutscenes where you basically flying in this plane and the plane crashes into this highway, and now you have to protect this girl from these zombies that's coming out from every angle, and you basically have your pistol. But I gotta be honest, the shooting mechanics are pretty bad in this game. It's just very basic, and I don't think it's that fun to shoot or slay down zombies. Sometimes it doesn't really work that well either. You just die instantly without getting a lot of damage, and you just have to repeat everything again. So I'm kind of disappointed in this game. I don't really expect much, but if you progress through the game, you will unlock a bunch of new weapons, attachments, and new arenas to play. But I personally feel like it's not worth my time, so the initial impression wasn't that positive, so I kind of quit the game, uninstall it, and I don't really expect anyone else to download and enjoy this one. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Alright, our next game is STRAFTAT. It's a game that I talked about before in my channel, and it's getting a bit more popularity on Steam. Right now having overwhelmingly positive reviews and about 250 people playing. And this is a game that I had really fun time playing, and I actually have a lot of good things to say about it. First of all, it is not a team-based shooter or anything like that. It's a very simple 1v1 arena shooter. The game modes is very simple. You jump into a game with another person, and the rounds are pretty quick, only take take about a minute or two, and you have to go through rounds and rounds. You have to win them, and first round to win 3 rounds, win the match, and I believe you have to win like 6 matches in order to win the series. But the cool part is every match is going to be different with different maps, different mechanics, and different set of weapons. And there are more than 70 plus different maps in the game, so you won't be playing the same map over and over again, which is great. And the weapons are so unique, and they're unique to each different map. Sometimes you get pistols, sometimes shotguns, sometimes a long-range sniper rifles, sometimes a goofy stuff like proximity mines, grenades, and even flamethrowers. But overall the game feels like kind of an old school arena shooter with some classic weapon mechanics, and it's very much depending on your skill and sometimes a bit of luck. When you jump into the arena with another person, the first thing that you have to do is find a weapon. Then strategically think about, or sometimes just blast through them and try to find a way to take him down. And when you play more and more, you will learn the maps, weapons, how the mechanics works and everything. But it's a game that I can easily recommend for anyone else to jump in and enjoy, because I had a personally fun time playing this. Moving on to our next game, it's a brand new roguelike arena shooter called DECIDIT. It's a game that is actually relatively popular on Steam right now, having mostly positive reviews, but only few people playing, but it doesn't really matter, it's a single player game. So it's an extremely fast-paced arena roguelike shooter where you simply jump into this kind of like a dark underground dungeon where hordes of enemies coming at you in every direction, and you have to slay them down using the different abilities and the weapon arsenal that you got. The game is heavy focus on the extreme fast-paced movement and precise use of weapons and different abilities, and after each round it gives you an option to unlock a different weapon or upgrade your weapon or unlock a different ability that you can use. But unfortunately it's a very short experience. There's not a lot of stuff that you can unlock, like different abilities or like a huge arsenal of weapons. There's only like a couple of them available right now in the game, which is kind of disappointing. And ultimately it's all about quickly go through the arena and beat your own best time, but it all depends on the difficulty that you choose. You can either play on easy, medium, hard, and playing on either medium or hard I would say is pretty challenging. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty solid game, but unfortunately the experience is going to be pretty short. It only takes you about 30 minutes to 1 hour to complete pretty much everything in the game right now. So hopefully more stuff, more weapon, more arenas will be added to the game. But overall I had fun playing the game, so I can actually recommend you guys to check the game out. Alright, next up I found out this brand new kind of like a sci-fi shooter called Softfire. I just saw the game on Steam, so I decided to download and try it out, and right now the game is sitting on mixed reviews on Steam and only have about a couple of people playing, so it's a very kind of underrated game. But when I jumped into the game for the first time, I couldn't really understand what the hell is going on with this game. There are a bunch of game modes so you can jump in and try the game out, but they did a very poor job explaining the objective or what you have to do with the game. It has some cool game modes, some cool mechanics like teleportation, and also a split screen mode, but unfortunately there is nobody playing the game right now, so you have to find friends in order to enjoy these split screen multiplayer modes. Or you can control multiple screen with just press of a button, but I don't really see anyone enjoying the game like this. It got some mechanics, but I feel like visually in terms of gameplay, the gameplay loop and everything, it feels a bit outdated, so I never really had fun time playing this, so I cannot really recommend you guys to check the game out. Anyway, our next game is a pretty interesting single player title called Paperhead Ep.0, and I believe this is kind of like the introduction demo prologue version for their upcoming title called Paperhead, which is going to release on Steam pretty soon. I never really knew about the game until I saw a bunch of people playing the game on YouTube, so I decided to give it a try, but to my surprise the game is actually really fun to play. It is a single player story where you step into this dark twisted fairy tale and you play as a little character with a paper head and you wake up in this underground prison. The gameplay is kind of a mix between some puzzle solving, creepy exploration, and some fast paced first person shooter mechanics, and it's nicely blended into this environment where everything is built using the cardboard, including the characters. And throughout the story you will face against various type of enemies made out of cardboard, including some boss battles as well. They are pretty fun to play, and also have to mention the soundtracks in this game is also super cool. There's no wonder why people loving the game on Steam. It's relatively popular even though it's a single player game. So if you never played or never heard about this game before, download, give it a try. I'm sure you're gonna absolutely love it. Alright, the last game that I found on Steam, it's a game with a pretty weird name and it is called 5 Likes Please. It is a typical multiplayer fast-paced first-person shooter with a polygon-like art style, kinda similar to the first game that we mentioned, but overall I feel like this game have way more features including more weapons, more characters, and a huge selection of maps. But unfortunately, since it's a multiplayer game depending on the player-hosted servers, I had a really hard time finding matches, finding servers to jump in and play, so I had to try the game out on the night time where actually few people start to playing the game. So I jump into the server, start playing, but my ping was way too high. It is really unfortunate to see, even though you have a pretty solid game with some decent mechanics, since it's a multiplayer game without a dedicated player base, it is extremely hard for me to recommend to anyone to download and try the game out. But let's say if you got few friends to play with you, like 4-5 people, you can actually make a custom server, select different game modes, different weapons loadouts that you like, and actually have a really fun time playing this. But that's pretty much it for me today, guys. I hope this video helped you to find at least few of the first-person shooter games that you might be interested in checking it out, or just to get a general idea what it's like to play such an underrated games that basically nobody's playing on Steam. So finally, guys, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel. Also, I would love to know your thoughts down in the comment section about some of these games, and if you got any suggestions, definitely let us know down in the comment section as well. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe.